Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Happy Sunday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking another look at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Just helping understand best practice and big picture, and obviously, what's going on with this correction here. So far we have a bearish engulfing candle that does look fairly ominous, and it could be wiping all the green from the last 24 to 48 hours. Not a problem though, of course. At least for us as a community, we shorted Ethereum and we're getting some pretty healthy profits over there. So congratulations to my current community members for that. And regarding Bitcoin too, here's what we're going to talk about. Touch on Bitcoin dominance, kind of see how that affects things as well. Because if you're not familiar with that, it's important to understand. And we'll cover a handful of other things. So if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I love teaching people to trade. Truly hope you can learn something here today. My goal is to help you become a better trader. That's why I create a trading academy, community, and signal group. Link in the description below. Check it out. CryptoCash.tech is a site. I send out signals for every trade that I take, so you can automatically follow those. Average about 80% success rate. And then when it comes to the Trading Academy, you can learn everything that I teach in that academy. It's a really awesome experience. Be sure to check that out in your own time. Take a look as well. One last thing is BitGet recently partnered with them because they do have not only a significant promotional bonus for transferring over funds and trading with them, but furthermore, they have a benefit of the fact that in the United States and Canada, of course, many other countries, they allow for leverage without a VPN. And that's an uncommon thing here in the States. Okay, so again, a lot of my U.S. members are flocking over there. They have like a 4.8 out of 5 stars for their application on the phone too. It's really phenomenal, super user friendly. So absolutely check that out in your own time. So here's kind of where we're at for Bitcoin. Once again, bearish engulfing candle. We've been under 50 on the RSI for some time. That's going to be, again, a point of contention, right? So getting up over, just say 20,600, for example, will be a milestone for us to be able to achieve because we're stuck under 50 on the RSI, and that's a very synonymous price point with the RSI, okay? Again, we have much more resistance than support at this level. Another thing to recognize too, if we kind of take a look at the big picture here, we're trending right at this point of contention. In other words, we have the most amount of volume accumulation right at the current price point, about 19,800. Coincidentally, 19,800 back in 2020 was a key level resistance. It's holding strong as a potential support and resistance level, but it's more like a zone for this at this point, right? It's not like a line in the sand, but 19,800 you can say is a point of contention that absolutely is getting, there's a significant battle going on right there at that price point. All right, so again, that volume kind of just tells us that we have a potential shelf here, but if we lose that, I wouldn't say it's a complete free fall, but absolutely we're going to see somewhere in the range of 17 to 18,000 if we do lose this support level here, which right now is trending right around 19,300. That's when the price action came as low as it could recently. If we break below that plane, you can expect even Bitcoin dominance to come down and for most alts to get hammered. So just keep this in mind. Altcoins you want to be cautious taking trades with them right now, okay? A lot of them are getting hit very hard with a minor correction from Bitcoin. Look at this, 2% correction from Bitcoin, and most everything else is somewhere in the range of 2 to 7%. In some cases, 10%. So again, not fantastic by any stretch, but this is the state of the nation right now. This is what's going on. The world is a funny place, and a lot of stuff is happening to cause this to occur. Because again, it makes sense though, right? Like just when you look at all the terrible stuff, CPI data comes out, things start coming down, all these profits are wiped out. Okay, so that gap was been effectively filled. All right. Anyway, so just enough rambling. Let's go ahead and look at the specific TA and kind of go from there. So we are below the 20-day set moving average yet again, and of course under the 50 and the 200. So in that case, we're in a position right now where we literally have nothing going for us based on moving averages. Same thing going as well with the MACD. We're about to diverge on the MACD. This could imply that the bears are going to take control to the downside. We got to recognize this here too. This is a larger time frame, but take a look. Ever since November, we've had a bearish divergence. We capped out at 48,000, and once again recently at 23,000 as a close approximate, or 22.7 I think it was. But generally speaking, these are points in which the price action is unwilling to pass. Okay, so hypothetically, we continue this trend further down, we could see the price action continue potentially lower. Okay, so again, I say potential because once again, 14,000 is likely the bottom if it were to come down that low. So hypothetically, if the price comes over here and gets rejected, just say at 20,000 as a rough estimate, and comes down, I would not be surprised if we continue to make lower lows and hit that hit some of these key level supports and break through them. It's a very distinct possibility. So again, absolutely still bearish in the overall sense of things. That's what this red ominous line is, and of course it is currently holding steady, if you will. All right, so again, that's the big picture. Not looking fantastic. Daily looks fairly terrible, and you could say the same for the monthly and the weekly. I cover that occasionally, but I've looked at it recently, and we're below all the moving averages there as well, the 50 specifically on the monthly, and it's just not a great situation for the moment. Okay, we got to expect it to get worse before it gets better. September's notoriously a bad month. Hypothetically, October, November, December should be green months, though. Those are typically much better months on average. Again, it's the whole holiday concept, and consumerism, and all comes into play. So, with Bitcoin on the 4 hour, let's take a look at the RSI. We got rejected at 50 on the RSI here, which is right at this point, roughly at about 20,200. So 20,200 is a new, somewhat of a resistance level. We can see we've got a MACD divergence forming. It's not there yet, but it's almost there. If this comes to a head though, and we get that X marks the spot, we could very well see the price action drop from here. Okay, so that's something we want to kind of pay attention to. Take a look at the moving averages too as well. We're underneath, once again, all three moving averages. So really nothing positive in that regard either. Last thing to really kind of consider taking a look at, we can look at the cloud. We're below that, of course. I typically prefer to use this on the 1 hour time frame because of my trading, how long I hold my trades for. It's usually a shortened period of time. It's more swing trade-ish, but it's still less than months or years. But if you look at the 4 hour Ichimoku cloud, it does tell us the overall sentiment is still bearish. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there for the 4 hour. Very last thing to summarize with is the fact that we did hit a 9 on TD sequential here recently, so really had a full 36 hours of continuation on the upside, got rejected at that key level resistance, 50 on the RSI, and got rejected. Now we're down to a 3. So hypothetically, we've got 6 more 4 hour candlesticks, 24 more hours of downside to expect. Again, that's hypothetical, but if that 24 hour period ends up breaking below 19,300, we could very well see it continue a chain reaction to go lower. Okay, so I'd say we lose 19.3, but prepare for the worst. I hate to chuckle at that, but it's just kind of one of those nervous laughter. It's like, oh my god, this is happening again. Just the way that it goes, you get used to it after a while. I mean, trading crypto for years, you're like, wow, okay, whatever. I've seen worse. So again, I'm not trying to blow it off and act like it's no big deal. I know you got probably some decent money invested at higher price points. But the key right now is to try to dollar cost average and add your position as the price goes lower. That's the bottom line. I've added a decent amount at the 19 to 20,000 range myself, and I feel comfortable that eventually that's going to return my investment. Even if we come down to 14,000, right? We do. I got a large amount to go ahead and put right in there at that area. I've got a limit order, so to speak, but until we get there, let's focus on the positive, which again is few and far between. All right. Sorry, still recovering from a cold, I apologize. I got an occasional cough there. Thank you for understanding. All right, so on the hourly, pretty simple. We've broken below the cloud. Okay, this is not great, but on the same accord, we're kind of almost range bound in this area. So if we take a look at this, and we can kind of see the price action kind of working itself out sideways, the cloud will have a tendency of giving you some false positive. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Unless there's a distinctive direction, sometimes it can be difficult. So at this point, we want to take it with a grain of salt, but we are tentatively broken below the cloud. And conversion lines below the baseline, and of course, lagging span is free and clear of price action. So hypothetically, you have a signal to go short. Okay, now I want to emphasize this though. There's no confirmation for me personally. Again, I'm more of a conservative trader, and what I want to wait for is confirmation. In other words, I want another 2 or 3 more hours at least for the price to distinctively break below and stay below to let me know that we're on the right side of the tracks. That's how I like to do it. Again, there's no doubt that I can miss some opportunities because of that, right? And if you want to day trade in this regard, the likelihood of it continuing lower seems higher, right? At least in the immediate future. But we still want to have that confirmation. And those are things I like to try to wait for. And I don't like to stress myself out and sit there and look at the charts all day, every day. With day trading, I'd much rather have an evaluated risk take at for a short-term swing trade, one that I hold for maybe 12 to 24 to maybe 48 hours, and essentially get in and get out if at all possible. All right, but again, there's no stress in that sense. And when we use our automated system through Cornix, through my signals, everything is fully automated. You don't have to sit there and watch it the whole time. So that's the beautiful thing about it. So I highly recommend you consider checking that out. It's definitely really cool. We took in some healthy profits here recently. But again, it's just kind of the way that it goes, right? You take your hits and you take your wins, and you got to learn from your mistakes. Either way, a mistake would be to just say short the position just yet, because even though it does look like it wants to break, we're not confirmed below the cloud 100%. Okay, so again, just something to kind of think about. Random details there. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. I'm not going to bother with a 15-minute here because we can probably see that it's getting closer to its overextension. We can see that it keeps wicking outside of the standard deviation. And if we take a look at the volume weighted average price, we're well outside of those lines. So I do feel like we might see a slight pullback based on the simple sentiment that the volume is telling us the price action should be at 19,900 when it's all the way down at 19,700. So again, there's that significant difference. And keep in mind, these volume weighted average price standard deviation lines are exaggerated because of the simple fact that there's less volume. That's why you want volatility, or more volume essentially, to provide that volatility. And in this sense here, it's not. That's why weekends to me are not the greatest time to trade. Okay, so again, just know that is potential. That can throw things off a little bit with less volume. But the bottom line here is that we are looking at a pretty unfortunate circumstance. I would say Bitcoin is on the struggle bus right now, and it could likely continue lower. It seems like it's wanting to, especially if we close on a bearish engulfing candle. That would absolutely signal further downside. I'm excited to see what happens later today when the Eastern markets open. They have a tendency of pushing things in different directions, and we could very well see that happen. So again, interesting stuff nonetheless. I look forward to the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. Again, if you're not currently a community member, cryptocash.tech is a website, link in the description below. I do offer discounts for military and third world countries, and there's also referral bonuses too. It's really an awesome experience. Be sure to check that out. Thanks so much for your time. See you in the next one.